The Frog Prince. Once upon a time, in a grand and beautiful kingdom, there lived a young princess who was as kind-hearted as she was lovely. She spent her days wandering the palace gardens, where flowers of every color bloomed and birds sang sweet melodies. Her favorite pastime was playing with a golden ball, a precious gift from her father, the king. She loved to toss it high into the air and catch it as it fell, its golden surface gleaming in the sunlight. One warm summer's day, the princess ventured deep into the forest that bordered the kingdom, seeking the cool shade of a large, old tree that stood beside a crystal-clear well. This was her favorite spot, a place of peace and tranquility. She began to play with her golden ball, tossing it higher and higher, laughing with joy. But in her excitement, she threw it too high. The ball slipped through her fingers and fell with a splash into the deep well. The princess peered down into the well, but the water was too deep and dark for her to see the bottom. She could not see her golden ball and began to cry softly, her tears falling into the well. "Oh, my golden ball! I will never see you again," she lamented. As she sat there, weeping, a croaky voice interrupted her. "Why are you crying, lovely princess?" Startled, she looked around and saw a small frog sitting at the edge of the well. Its skin was green and shiny, and its eyes bulged out, giving it a curious and almost comical appearance. "Oh, it's you, frog," she said, wiping her tears. "I lost my golden ball in the well, and I do not know how to get it back." The frog looked at her thoughtfully and then spoke. "I can retrieve your ball, princess, but what will you give me in return?" The princess, eager to have her ball back, quickly replied, "Anything you wish, dear frog. My jewels, my crown, anything you desire." The frog shook his head. "I do not want your jewels or your crown. But if you promise to let me be your friend, to let me eat from your plate, and to let me sleep on your pillow, then I will dive into the well and fetch your golden ball." The princess thought the frog's request was rather strange and silly, but she was desperate to get her ball back. "Yes, yes, I promise," she said hastily. "Now please, get my ball." With a satisfied croak, the frog dove into the well. The princess watched anxiously as he disappeared beneath the water. Moments later, he resurfaced, holding the golden ball in his mouth. He placed it on the grass before her. Overjoyed, the princess picked up her ball and ran back to the castle, forgetting all about the frog and her promise. That evening, as the princess dined with her family in the grand hall, there was a knock at the door. The princess opened it, and to her surprise, there stood the little frog. "Princess," he said, "you promised to let me be your friend, to let me eat from your plate, and to let me sleep on your pillow." The princess was horrified and shut the door quickly. She returned to the table, but the knocking continued. The king, noticing her distress, asked what was wrong. With reluctance, the princess told him the whole story. "A promise is a promise, my dear," the king said sternly. "You must keep your word. Go and let the frog in." With a heavy heart, the princess did as she was told. The frog hopped into the dining room and sat at her table. He looked at the delicious feast laid out before him and croaked, "Please lift me onto the table, princess, so I can eat from your plate." Though it disgusted her, she picked him up and placed him beside her plate. The frog ate heartily, savoring each bite. When he was full, he said, "Now I am tired. Please take me to your room and let me sleep on your pillow." The princess was even more dismayed, but she remembered her father's words. She carried the frog upstairs to her room and placed him on a pillow beside her own. As soon as he settled down, she lay down herself, but sleep eluded her as she lay there, thinking about the strange turn her day had taken. In the morning, the frog woke her with a gentle croak. "Princess, you have kept your promise. Now I will fulfill mine." He hopped off the pillow and, in an instant, transformed into a handsome prince, his royal attire shimmering in the morning light. The princess gasped in amazement. The prince explained, "I was cursed by a wicked witch and turned into a frog. Only the kindness and promise of a princess could break the spell. You have freed me, and for that, I am forever grateful." The princess and the prince descended to the dining hall, where the king listened to the prince's tale with great interest. The king was overjoyed and gave his blessing. The prince and the princess spent more time together, and soon they grew to love each other deeply. A grand wedding was arranged, and the entire kingdom rejoiced. The prince and the princess were married in a magnificent ceremony, attended by nobles from far and wide. They ruled the kingdom with wisdom and kindness, always remembering the lesson of the Frog Prince. And so, they lived happily ever after.